Not too long ago, I was invited by Owlcat Studios to a presentation of a game called Rue Valley, which is being made by a studio called Emotion Spark Studios. Owlcat is the publisher, so it made sense that they would reach out to me. Now, this game, called Rue Valley, is a narrative-driven CRPG that, to my mind, best resembles a game such as Disco Elysium. Now, for the record, I've never played Disco Elysium, but I've seen a lot of footage, I've watched a lot of videos, and so the game definitely gives me those vibes. And the premise of this game is basically you are a man who's been invited out to engage in a therapy session or multiple therapy sessions with a psychiatrist. But the weird thing is, these therapy sessions take place in a remote hotel, effectively in the middle of nowhere. And the psychiatrist insists that this is essential for you to properly recover and be treated. So that's why you're doing these sessions in a motel. You go to the therapy, it ends after an hour, and then you leave, and then the rest of the game is basically trying to while away the time. And why is this important? Because the premise of this game is that this man is trapped in a time loop. And the time loop entails 8 a.m. to 8:47 p.m. After 8:47 p.m., everything gets reset. And so between doing the therapy with the psychiatrist and going into your room to try to sleep, there are various things there. There's a young woman kicking a vending machine. There's a driver that smashes his car into some large objects. There's a receptionist. There are various things there. And beyond this, when you're sleeping, there's a screen where you're basically trying to piece together the various parts of this puzzle. And this is important because there's one thing I haven't mentioned. Before the time resets, the protagonist sees this bright light in the background, which is somewhat akin, I guess, to a nuclear blast of some sort, I'm guessing here, because this is a pre-alpha version. And the time gets reset, and it's 8 a.m. again. And so you need to take into account all these things, events, and people, your psychiatrist, the receptionist, the woman kicking the vending machine, the bright blast in the distance, the car that crashes, and beyond that, there are memories from your past. For example, you have a memory concerning your father and how he treated you. And before you attempt to sleep, there's also some weird guy that calls you out of nowhere, and that's probably also a piece of the puzzle. So basically this game is about you trying to figure out why you're stuck in this time loop. Why are the people doing the things they're doing, and how they fit into this bigger puzzle? What does the bright blast mean? And where do you fit in as a protagonist? And like I said, it's most reminiscent of something like Disco Elysium, even though I never played Disco Elysium. I've watched the game, I've seen it before, because you do have stats in this game, but they're not conventional stats. They're stats about your psychology and your mental health, how motivated you are, how much anxiety you have. And the idea behind this, one of the developers explained to me, is that you can't really make the incorrect choice. At the end of the day, this game is about narrative exploration. So if you have zero motivation, you might not be able to unlock certain choices and possibilities, but there might be other options available to you. And you might be able to come back to these things much later. So it's one of those things where you just kind of play the character you want to be in terms of personality, and sometimes you won't be able to do certain things, but that doesn't mean that you are locked out of content, because it's all about just going with the flow of how your personality is, or how you're feeling at a given moment. Now, I had a good time with this game. It's pretty interesting. The developer himself told me when I asked if this was related somehow to Groundhog Day, which is this ancient film from the 90s, where Bill Murray is trapped in a time loop, and he confirmed this. And I think the time loop concept is a thoroughly interesting concept by itself. And I like the idea of how you have to piece your memories together and try to make sense of it all, which includes the people you encounter, events, and even objects. Now this is, of course, as I stated, pre-alpha, and so I could only play a limited amount of the game. But all in all, I think the concept is very interesting, and if you're interested in narratively driven CRPGs that make you think, that involve good writing and good story, this potentially could be a game for you. But I have no idea about the release date or the release window, so it's going to take a while for this to be out, but I'll be sure to keep you informed on this game in the future. And if you're interested in this game or it sounds appealing to you, I will post a link to the Steam page where you can put on your wish list. But as always, thank you for tuning in, and if you like my videos and my content, you can leave a like, comment, share, and subscribe. It's much appreciated as it helps out the channel, and I'll check you out next time. Take care.